Many people readily credit Moore's law, right? And network storage and bandwidth and all of those types of things as kind of being the driving function of how computers have moved forward and really how people have become more capable with computers. But just like raw computational power. But the true heart of it, the thing that really drives massive step changes in human productivity and capability and creativity with computers is the interface, the human-computer interface, says the interface designer. But it's true, the first computers required people in lab coats to operate them, right? You had folks at IBM, you know, and they had this specialized arcane knowledge that can only be passed from one to the other. And the interface for computers at that time was not on humans' terms, right? It was on the computer's terms. And then a bit later, we got you know, like green screen and amber screen terminals and a keyboard. How many people use like amber, green screen terminals? A few of us. Okay, cool. And that's actually closer to the human. At this point, it's got an alphabet and a rudimentary language, something we've been using for thousands of years. Following that, famously, is the computer mouse and the GUI, the graphical user interface, desktop, and things like that. But each step along the way, what's happening is that the interface is getting closer and closer. The mechanisms of interaction get closer and closer to the ways that we, as humans, have evolved for hundreds of thousands, or if you want to go back millions of years, to just deal with the world and how that functions. And each time the computer gets closer to how we perceive and interact with the world, it unlocks massive amounts of creativity and potential. The smartphone is the most successful and widely adopted technology tool in existence. It's no coincidence that the smartphone so far is the most human of interfaces to it, right? It fits in your hand. It's manipulated directly through touch. You're using your hands to physically manipulate software. And it goes where you go. It's mobile. And so you can see a clear trend in all this where computing is migrating from this monolithic thing, right, to something that's more mobile and goes with you, to eventually, and you're starting to see the parts of this, something that's more ambient, something that's there, and maybe I converse with it, and maybe it kind of understands me, or understands gestures. This was announced at I/O, the Nest Hub Max, where it actually can understand gestures. Like, this is the #1 thing that happens when people are playing music. They just want to stop, right? And so you can actually gesture to it, which is something that's very natural for humans, but hard for computers to understand. And interfaces have been migrating from the computerese to the metaphorical, again with the desktop, to the literal. And it's because this is how we as humans start to perceive the world. But because it's software, it's malleable in ways that the physical world is not. And so that means that it eventually can transition to something magical, something that we don't have kind of a current metaphor to understand, except in the stories of magic and mythology.